Ocean water stretches out to a horizon of rolling hills, a foggy beach at low tide, Grand Manan Island, New Brunswick.
In the early 1990s, researchers investigated a right whale found floating dead off of Grand Manan Island, here in the Outer Bay of Fundy.
A photo of a beached whale.
They discovered a bruise so big only one thing could have made it.
The prow of a ship cuts through water.
A ship. And it wasn't the only one. Ship strikes were killing too many right whales. Even if the ship spotted a whale, there wasn't much they could do about it.
The first thing I ever learned from a ship captain was, even if we saw a whale and put the boat in full reverse to try and stop its motion, it would take 2 miles for a large vessel to stop.
And of course, it was a safety of navigation issue because nobody in a boat wants to hit anything. So the best thing is just not to have whales and ships in the same place.
The researchers went to the International Maritime Organization to see if the shipping lanes in the Bay of Fundy could be moved. They agreed, and the changes were made.
So simply the lanes were moved from where there was a high concentration of right whales to where there were much lower concentrations of right whales. And in doing that, we reduced the probability of a vessel hitting a right whale by 80%.
Since they've been moved in 2003, has there been any documented death due to shipping in this area?
As far as we know, there haven't been any collisions in the lanes.
A stretch of open water.
Slowly, the Bay of Fundy became a relatively safe zone for right whales.
A whale lifts its tail as it dives.
But then they stopped coming.
Nutrient-rich particles cloud the sunlit waters.
Knowing that the ocean is warming and that the food right whales like to eat does better in cold water, researchers looked north. Sure enough, the whales were heading for the Gulf of St. Lawrence.
A right whale closes its blowholes as it slips under the surface.
The ocean's changing everywhere.
William McClellan, large whale mortality team leader.
So the Bay of Fundy's been warming, and the animals are probably having to prospect further north. Maybe there's more food up here. Probably right whales knew that this was an area that they would go in their ancient history, but now they're coming back into this area with higher numbers.
Blow clouds rise above the waves.
But the whales pay a high price for chasing food to a new place.
The pale corpse of a whale on a beach.
Tragically, in the summer of 2017, at least 12 right whales were found dead in the Gulf of St. Lawrence.
A crowd of people surround the animal.
Desperate to understand the cause of this unusual number of deaths, a team of researchers and concerned citizens towed some of the casualties to shore to study.
A man cuts through the thick blubber layer of the whale with a knife. Dr. Boris Worm.
In the Bay of Fundy, right whales are reasonably well protected because people have moved shipping lanes to avoid collisions with tanker traffic and other large ships. In the Gulf of St. Lawrence, we haven't yet made these adjustments. It's one of the busiest shipping routes in the world. It's also a rich fishing ground, so there's various threats for the right whales to encounter that they're not prepared to meet.
And boat collisions aren't the only human-made problem for right whales. They can also sometimes get entangled in fishing gear.
These animals will swim along with their mouths open, so anything that's floating around could potentially just go in. And then, as soon as that happens, they might, get caught up.
Tanya Wimmer.
I always think about it too, that when you go for a hike through the woods and you come across, you walk into a spider web, and your immediate reaction is to go, and your arms are going everywhere. And that's what I picture for these animals. Because we see some really crazy loops around their arms, and you're like, how did that happen?
Dr. Brown.
In some cases, when a right whale becomes seriously entangled and keeps that gear on its body for a period of time, it may be hampered in the way it swims, in the way it feeds, and so the animal loses body condition, and when it dies, it probably just sinks.
Fishers, fishery managers, scientists, and activists are all working together to find a solution. Nobody wants these whales to become extinct.
The wake of a boat as it drives through the water.
We've come up with solutions before. Maybe we can do it again.
The response team surrounds the dead whale on the beach.
We do know that this population is in dire straits, and we know that a vast majority of it is because of our human activities. And that actually should be something we can control.
An excavator buries the bodies of 2 whales in a grassy field. On the water, a right whale slips below the waves.